Hi everyone. Today guys, I just wanted to share a story and I would love some feedback on it afterwards. It's quite confusing for me, so I'm putting this kind of out there, not so much to be controversial, it's more so to kind of understand the depth of it and to kind of understand people's opinions on it, to be honest. I would greatly appreciate if there was some sort of kind of feedback on this, publicly or privately. But I'm going to share a story about a friend. This is a female friend of mine. She said it was absolutely fine for me to share this story. So last week I was talking to a female friend and she disclosed to me that she had a plumber called to her house. So the plumber was supposed to call over to fix a leak. He was charging €500 to fix this leak. As he was fixing the leak and he was kind of going about the house or whatever, grabbing tools and whatnot, she started to make him a cup of tea. He started to kind of ask her personal questions. Do you live alone? Are you single? All of these kind of questions. So she's a very nice woman, so she started to kind of answer the questions for him, thought nothing of it. As he was finishing up the job, he asked, oh, if I do a good job, will you give me a hug? And she thought that was pretty strange and she kind of laughed it off or whatever. And then he mentioned it again. He goes, oh, you've got beautiful eyes or whatever, would you give me a hug? Wink, wink at the end of the job. So she was like, oh, laughed it off again. All of a sudden, another person arrived at the house. Another male arrived at the house. He brought a friend over and he said, oh, I've just finished a job. Would you give me and my friend a hug? So at this stage or whatever, she started to get a bit worried about what was going on. And she contacted her mother, who lived up the road, an elderly lady who's, dealing with her own physical issues at the moment. So she came up to the house or whatever. Her mother came up to the house and so she'd have somebody there. And as she's kind of telling me the story, I'm like, this is inappropriate behavior, I think, for a plumber, any tradesperson to call to, or for anybody, not even a tradesperson, for somebody to come into somebody else's house, to ask them such personal questions, number one, and then number two, then to ask them for never mind COVID, exclude COVID, but even to ask for a hug, or to even to step into somebody else's boundaries and say, when I finish this job, will you give me a hug? And even to suggest something like that, it's, for me, when I heard to me, I was infuriated. I'm going to be straight up and honest that this stuff is actually happening. But what freaked me out even more is my friend was more stressed out about the €500 that she paid this guy. She texted him the next day because the leak wasn't fixed, and because she wouldn't give him a hug and play ball with him, he told her to F off, basically, whatever like that. Go find somebody else. I fixed what I thought was going to fix the leak or whatever, which didn't in the end. So because she didn't give him a hug and she didn't play ball with him, he just basically told her to jog on. And she was more worried about the €500, which, look, is understandable. But I just couldn't believe that there's people, or there was a man who called to somebody else's house. Look, I'm not saying all tradesmen. Look, I was a tradesman for 10 years. I never seen any of this, and I wasn't involved in any of this kind of stuff or whatever. I don't know how often this goes on. But when my female friend was telling me this, what worried me more is because I kept going back to, he asked you for a hug. He was asking these personal questions. She was like, yeah. But the €500. And I was like, no. But a man came into your house to do a job and he asked you for a hug, and then brought a friend over and asked for the two of them to be hugged. And she was like, yeah. But and I was like, whoa, no, hang on. So she was like, what are you going back to this part of the story for? And I was like, because this is that's borderline sexual assault. And she was like, well, this happens all the time. And I said, what do you mean this happens all the time? She's like, this happens, you ring a tradesperson to come over. Some of them would ask you personal questions. And I was like, she goes, it even happens when you go get your tires fixed. And I was like, hang on 2 seconds here. You're telling me this is more common than what I think and what probably the general public think. Well, males maybe, whatever like that is, but females probably have to deal with this, I'm guessing, on a daily or weekly basis or whatever. So I'm not trying to be controversial putting this out. I've put up posts before in the past and I've talked about steroids and sports and stuff like that, and I got lynched and I got, excommunicated from communities and stuff like this for just talking the truth, and so much truth that it all unraveled and it all came out, and like what I was saying wasn't lies. Like, I don't make videos and I don't post stuff that I believe is controversial or I want to roil things up or whatever like that. Is I've never been that way. I've never in years of doing social media have posted stuff up going, this is going to get a lot of controversy. Like, I don't want to waste my day sitting around going back and forth with keyboard warriors and people saying, oh, this, that and the other, and arguing with people online. I've got much better things to be doing with my time. But with stuff like this, I think it's very valid for me to put stuff like this out, because it's important, I think, and I haven't heard too many people talk about this, and it seems to be common, because I stuck up a post about a female CrossFitter a few weeks ago, and she was basically disclosing that she wears short shorts and whatever she does, and men start stalking and start kind of sending inappropriate messages and dick pics and all this kind of stuff or whatever. And it's worrying. It's like that people have to kind of is this top too short? Have to actually scan themselves nearly every day to make sure that they're not wearing certain clothes and all this kind of stuff. It's frightening that people have to live in fear. I think she even said that she can't even cycle through her hometown anymore, whatever, because of men wolf whistling and all this kind of stuff, whatever. And of all, I don't want to come across as in, oh my God, this stuff is happening. I know this stuff probably happens, but I can genuinely tell you that none of my friends out of my whole life, tradesmen, whatever, I've never, ever, ever, ever been around men who've wolf whistled at women. I think it's called wolf whistling. What's that? I don't know. I'm almost sure it's called wolf whistling. But I've never, ever, ever been around men that have done that to other women. I've never been around men that have asked women for hugs or been inappropriate or any of that kind of stuff, whatever. So it is my own ignorance, because it is going on, but I've just been ignorant to it because I just haven't seen it with my own eyes. And it reminds me of this, and again, not trying to be controversial or whatever, but it reminds me of this Black Lives Matter, when that kind of stuff came out and everyone, including me, started posting these black squares and going, yeah, look, I support, which is great, fantastic, awareness, brilliant. But if it stops there, you're not directly part of the problem, but you're not part of the solution either. Posting a black square on social media isn't enough. If you want to really, support Black Lives Matters or whatever it is, or, be against racism or whatever, it's educating yourself more, talking up more, seeing people use inappropriate language around you or being racist around you, and then saying, hey, educate yourself enough to say what, to reply or to respond to people in that certain situation or scenario, whether it's a stranger, whether it's somebody in public, whether it's a friend, whether it's a partner, whether it's a family member, whatever it is. That's how things change. Things only change is when we actually take action on the information that we've taken in. So this is why I couldn't sit back and hear that story from my female friend and not do something, because if we all just sit back and ignore it, see these things going on, or your friend being inappropriate to a waitress or whatever it may be. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't gender kind of bashing or whatever. I'm sure it happens, female to male, male to female, whatever it may be, male to male, female to female, whatever. This isn't about this. I'm just sticking with my story here. I'm sure it happens all genders, all sexualities, whatever it may be. But if we all sit back and we all just accept it and go, oh, my friend's after saying something inappropriate to that, we'll just say at this, for hypothetically speaking, my friend says something to this female waitress, and I sit back and don't say anything, even though I've seen that female waitress is after making her feel uncomfortable or whatever, and something sexually, whatever. If I sit back and don't say anything, I'm part of the problem. God, sorry, the thing in my car just kind of flipped over. But yeah, look, I'm part of the problem. I am if I stand back and I just watch my friends, say sexual stuff to others, or ask people for hugs in public, or say come out with racial slurs or whatever it may be, and I don't step in and kind of say, hang on, don't say that, and educate them on why not to say it. Like, who learns anything? Like if we just ignore everything that's going on, if we ignore everything that's going on around us, and this hush hush culture of don't say anything, don't cause any kind of issues, and well, nobody learns anything then. Like, we're all just going around, we all know this information, but we're not taking action on the information we're learning. So then it's pointless. We can post all the things we want to look like we're not racists, and we support feminism and whatever it may be. But if we're not actually taking action in our own lives and educating people around us and pulling people up on racial slurs or sexual slurs or whatever it may be, well, then nothing changes. So I don't know. This is 11-minute rant or whatever like that at the moment. I don't know what people think about this. Again, this is my own opinion. That's all it is. I'm 100, no matter what I put up on social media, I am so open to constructive criticism, conversations, anything about anything I put up. Like, the only way I'm going to learn, I'm not delusional. I don't think everything I put up is going to land with everybody and is 100% politically correct or any of that kind of stuff, whatever. So by all means, reach out, talk to me. I'll ring you, I'll text you, whatever, and we can have a conversation about it. I need to learn just as much as everyone else needs to learn. And when I open my mouth, I'm only repeating, regurgitating what I know. So it's only when people actually talk back to me and I open my ears and heart do I learn something new. But that's what I'm open to. So if I'm completely wrong here, and what I'm saying is completely wrong, or this isn't common, and this is only and the only reason I'm actually saying posting this is because a lot of women reaching out to me. So over the last post I put up a few weeks ago, and a lot to me, like, my social media isn't big. A lot to me is like 10 messages. So I got a handful of public and then more private messages saying, hey Niall, this stuff is really more common than you think, blah, blah, blah. And then a few weeks later, my female friend, who had no idea I put up that she isn't on social media, said this to me. I'm like, hang on here, this is a bit too the two situations are too close together here for it not to be common. And maybe it's just me, maybe my eyes are open now, maybe people have said this to me before in the past and I've kind of just been ignorant to it. Maybe that's my own fault. Maybe it's my own blind spots, whatever it may be. But this stuff is scary. That big men can enter women's houses. I'm only saying big men, not generalizing here, is this person happened to be big and she happens to be small. And to intimidate somebody so much when they're supposed to be there to do a job, and then to ask for hugs in a pandemic, and then to bring a friend over and ask for the two of them to be hugged, and for her to actually reach out to her elderly mother who isn't physically well to come up to kind of save her. Like, there's something wrong. Not all, I'm friends with lots of tradespeople, and there's never in 20 years of knowing these guys, whatever, being in trades, 15 years maybe, well, actually maybe 20. I'm actually older than I think. I'm 40 years of age this year, so maybe 20 years, yeah, of being knowing people in trades and all that kind of stuff. I've never heard this going on, but from the feedback I'm getting from women out there, that this seems to be more common than not. But again, if I don't talk about it, if it's not discussed, then nothing changes. So again, correct me if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong, or tell me I'm right, or whatever it may be. But I'm only posting this because I don't want this to be another situation where I hear information and I want to post a blue square on social media to say I support something, and then I don't stand for anything or take action on something, I know we live in a hush-hush culture, and maybe we've been conditioned that way from, I won't say religion or whatever like that, but from growing up as kind of shh, keep everything quiet, smile, don't frown, you you'd get in trouble for being sad or showing emotions, and what would the neighbors think, and keep everything inside these four walls, and that's not right. You know, that's not right. So I don't know. Let me know what you think, guys. Hopefully this is short enough that I can post straight to Instagram, but if this is common, let me know. If it's not, if this is just a once off, let me know as well. Chat to you later. Bye bye.